Whether it's your first time here or you're a regular here at Mr. Super Oz, I just want to thank you for tuning in to the channel. It exists because I, Oz, from the channel Mr. Super Oz, I wrote a 68-page graphic novel called Everlasting Survivors. Volume 1 is called All Day Long. If you follow the link in the description of this video, you can get yourself hats, shirts, posters, all kinds of fun things. But most importantly, you can get the story itself. And the more people that pick up the story, the greater the chances are that there can be continued adventures with these heroes. If you could, give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, leave a comment, enjoy. WWE ECW Episode 14 aired September the 12th of 2006. When Let the Bodies Hit the Floor plays, all I can think is let this show not suck. Because last time I watched this show, it was not ECW proper. It didn't feel correct because you have Shawn Michaels and Triple H in the main event against the Big Show. None of these names feel like they represent Extreme Championship Wrestling. ECW, for the first time ever, is in Madison Square Garden. And the entrance way and presentation of the show looks very cool. Paul Lee, with his personal security enforcement team, start the show. Big time bragging from Paul about being here at MSG. Paul thanks himself for getting ECW into Madison Square Garden, and the crowd boos. Paul then blames the fans for ECW closing down the prior time and says that now that things are being done his way and not the way that the fans want. Oh, nope, he doesn't get to finish his thought because Sabu interrupts. Paul and Sabu go at it, but Paul and his enforcers leave the ring. Sabu takes out the enforcers with a chair, and it is announced that the main event is going to be the Big Show versus Sabu for the ECW World Title in an Extreme Rules match. It was a very well done open. Up next is Hardcore Holly versus Rob Van Dam. It's quick into the action as Rob and Bob slug it out. Van Dam then gets very flippy, and it's cool. Dang. Hardcore gets RVD to the outside, and then Holly does an unexpected dive. Very nice. Back in the ring, and Hardcore Holly is in control. When Rob starts to fight back, Holly hits a beautiful drop kick, and I'm very amused when Joey Styles agrees with me about how pretty that drop kick was. Rob making his comeback and pins Holly after a rolling thunder, but only gets a 2 count. Has that move ever won a match for him? Why does he go for the pin? I just don't understand. Rob Van Dam and Hardcore Holly are both on the top, fighting to hit each other with a superplex. One trying to superplex to the outside, the other to the inside. Then Test and Mike Knox, along with Steven Richards, interrupt, and of course we just have to do the DQ finish because I swear Vince just laughs. He thinks it's funny to have non-finishes in the ECW show where they should allow chaos. Tommy Dreamer with the Sandman come down and help RVD fight off. But why didn't RVD just win before all of this stuff? I'm sick of so many disqualification finishes in this show. Rob hits his 5-star frog splash on Steven Richards, but why couldn't he have just beaten Hardcore Holly, which then leads to the 3 guys attacking him, which then leads to the 2 guys coming out to help out? It just makes no sense to me. Taz gets sprayed with one of Sandman's beers during all this chaos, and like the babyfaces celebrate fighting off Knox, Test, and Holly, but it just it's hollow. Them partying with the beers with the Sandman just feels so empty to me. Out next is CM Punk. He does a very Christian Cage motion to look out to the crowd to see how hyped up Madison Square Garden is to have him there live before the reject Shannon Moore comes out for this match. And unfortunately, they feel compelled to make me upset. They play the incident where Punk slaps Shannon and calls him a poser, which I find so frustrating. It's like these two guys are capable of putting on a good match without you having to tear down Shannon Moore. I just do not get this terrible story of how that Shannon, now granted, they did a bad job of setting up Shannon, but it isn't as if he can't wrestle. Shannon Moore can wrestle. CM Punk is a great wrestler. Like, why can't we just allow these two guys who both see themselves as representing a populace to go out there and tear it down? But instead, all they do is it's basically a squash. It's not quite a squash, but Punk he fights him and Shannon are fighting back and forth, but then Punk puts on a version of the tarantula to Shannon in the ropes, but the ref is counting as if he's going to disqualify Punk for working in the ropes. And the match itself, while clean and thank God doesn't have any outside interference, it's very short. Punk slaps the Anaconda Vice on Shannon and he taps out. We then see Rene Dupree cutting a backstage promo while brushing his hair, and it's pointless. Like, Rene is promoting the fact that he is having his debut match on ECW, and then we see Tony Mamaluke and Nunzio congratulating Punk on winning in his Madison Square Garden debut, but that was only a means to an end so that Kelly Kelly could come up to Punk and ask him if they can go out on the town. Even though she's only 19, she really wants to party because she's an exhibitionist. And I don't think Punk says a word to her, but then Mike Knox comes up and pulls her away. We cut back to ringside with Kevin Thorne and Ariel sitting ringside with Taz and Joey Styles for Rene Dupree to come to the ring for his first match. And it's against Balls Mahoney. Styles mentions how Thorne cost Mahoney a match last week, which makes me assume Rene will win this match with Ariel and Kevin getting involved. Rene and Balls, that's so weird to say. So let's say Dupree and Mahoney are having a very fine, nothing special match, which the crowd seems to only care when Dupree hits his French tickler and then when Balls punches Dupree. The rest of the time, MSG is basically silent. And maybe it's because they see what I see, which is the obvious setup for a repeat of last week. When Mahoney and Dupree are on the outside of the ring, Balls goes to get a chair. The referee takes it from him, and Thorne throws Mahoney into the steel stairs. And this leads to Rene Dupree tossing Balls back into the ring and then winning the match, which is almost precisely what I assumed would happen, which frustrates me that it was so both obvious and pointless. Matt Striker gets another obvious and pointless, and also a callback to his incident with Sandman, and his backstage teacher segment is just so, like, I like Matt Striker. I think he's a good talker and a fine wrestler, but this program between him and Sandman is pointless. And even Striker talking about how, you're judged by the company you keep, which is another dig at Dreamer and Van Dam, who Sandman worked with during the Open. It's just, it all seems like nothingness, and things actually get worse when we go back to ringside and Joey Styles and Taz hype up Unforgiven's handicap Hell in a Cell match between D-Generation X and the McMahons and the Big Show. And I'm like, it feels so out of place in my mind for ECW to promote the corporate machine of WWE and Raw. Now, I get it. The ECW current champion, Big Show, is in the match, but they even struggle to treat their ECW World Champion as the top guy because, dang it, even in this match at Madison Square Garden, where Big Show is defending his ECW championship, he comes in second and he comes in first and Sabu gets the main eventer, the championship slot of coming in second. I just don't understand why this is the constant choice they decide to make when presenting Big Show as champion. I took about a half a page of notes of this match, but let's be real, does any of it matter? Not really. The biggest standout to me is Justin Roberts and his presentation for the Big Show as the ECW champion. I just think Justin Roberts is a great ring announcer, and the match goes under 10 minutes. It's pretty underwhelming. Sabu hits a pretty cool DDT through the table, which was a counter for Big Show trying to attempt to chokeslam through the table inside the ring, but Sabu doesn't win with the reversal, and on the outside, Big Show does chokeslam Sabu through a table to retain, and it's a completely passable 2 out of 5 star episode. It wasn't as offensive as plenty of other of these episodes have been, so that's something. And while they are playing highlights of the main event match, I see the little teaser for the next episode, which will have King Booker on the next one. And I'm a big fan of Booker T, whether it be from Harlem Heat or the Main Event Mafia. I just think that guy is awesome. And furthermore, seeing the tease of King Booker on ECW reminded me how that this is leading to the Champion of Champions match, I'm pretty sure, where King Booker took on John Cena, took on The Big Show, which is a match that happened at a pay-per-view I attended, Cyber Sunday in Cincinnati, Ohio. But the insane thing is, yes, I attended it, but it just blows me away because it was a part of this stupid John Cena Kevin Federline feud, which I just couldn't stand. But I'm going to focus on the positive and say that I look forward to checking out episode 15 because of King Booker. Thank you for tuning into the review. Come back next week and enjoy.